Hi, welcome to the Vergas Show. I'm Sherri, your host. Thanks for joining us today. Today I have with me Kristine Neu. Thank you, Kristine, for joining me. Kristine's a graduate of Pelican Rapids High School, and I talked her into coming and sitting and telling a little bit about the servant event that our St. John, St. Paul's Lutheran Churches was just on. If some of you remember from one of our previous shows, it's been a little ways back, but Myron and Sonia Gunderson, trip organizers, were on the show with me, and we were talking about and getting prepared for going down there. And Kristine, I know that you were very involved in helping get prepared. We were tying the quilts, we were getting toys organized, storybooks, we were having our meetings and our devotions, and the thing that is interesting to me was the fact that you had been there before and had brought some experience. And tell me a little bit about your first trip down there.
I guess our first trip could be summed up in the word of wet. I was a little nervous about going back because 2 years ago there was tons of rain, there was flooding, we were evacuated one evening, and I really didn't want that to happen again. And as we were driving down this trip, we stopped in White Sands, New Mexico, and we had rain all over again, and I was really nervous about the rest of the week, but thankfully there was sunshine.
There was sunshine. I know there was some talk about that. I need to back myself up a little bit. The mission is in El Paso, Texas. It's Ysleta Lutheran Mission, and it's sponsored by the Missouri Synod Church. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of this mission team this year. There was 10 of us who went from our St. Paul, St. John's Lutheran churches, and I think it's the 5th year that there's been groups going down. Is that correct, Kristine?
I believe so.
I believe that's right. And anyway, we go down, and we drove down, and we joined a group from Pierre, South Dakota, and then we all headed down there, and like you said, we went through the New Mexico desert and ended up with rain in New Mexico. And so I think this was God's way of kind of saying, okay, I'm still in control here, raining in a desert. But then we ended up at the mission where we were, what the mission is it's a campus in El Paso, and then you travel into Juarez and Ann Opera area in Mexico, and you do servant events from VBS to construction to there's a lot of different things that we do. But Kristine, mainly I want to talk about what we accomplished the week that we were down there. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your week and your experience?
Okay, Monday through Thursday, every day we crossed the border into Ann Opera, which is the poor area of Juarez, built on their garbage dump actually. And we spent time building roofs on houses, and we were working with the people from South Dakota. So we had about 30 people working on a couple different houses. And since there was an abundance of people, a lot of us youth found ourselves handing out storybooks and coloring books and T-shirts, such as
like
mine,
that. Yes, yeah.
which our church had gotten the donations for and provided. And we spent a lot of time working with the kids on the streets. And one day, Wednesday, I believe, we even set up a makeshift VBS. We had our buckets and plywood tables, and the kids colored and read from their storybooks. And we even had our recess of lots of soccer playing. So yeah, that's kind of our
soccer.
week.
Yeah, they love soccer down there. Did you find what did you find when you go down there, Kristine? I think it's, for me, it was hard to imagine. I mean, we did, like I said, a lot of preparing, and we talked about it a lot, but I was totally unprepared for the poverty that's down there.
I guess this time it was less of a shock since I had already been there before.
I suppose. Yeah.
One thing that I just found hard was there wasn't running water in the homes, and there wasn't restroom facilities that we're used to, and that was hard to see. But then when I came home, I walked around my house and realized I didn't need half the stuff that I have. And it was an eye-opener in that sense to realize you can have so little, yet they are still so blessed, and they're so happy and grateful for everything they do have.
That's what was so interesting to me. You go down there thinking that you're the ones that are going to bless their lives, and it's just kind of a total turnaround thing, isn't it? Because you come back just realizing, like you said, there's so much that we do not need. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the mission itself, Ysleta Lutheran Mission in El Paso. Reverend Carl Heimer is the minister there, and this campus is really neat. Why don't you explain the campus?
Well, they have their own mission-style church that is there. They have dormitories for all of their volunteers with I don't know how many rooms.
I'm not sure. I think there was probably 8 different rooms.
Yeah.
Sometimes they fit 8 in a room, so
8 to
10
10.
and bunked up, yes.
So they can hold a lot of groups or a lot of people there at once. They have a kitchen facility complete with kind of a little cafeteria style sitting area. They have several homes for their volunteers. They have offices, and they even have their own thrift store right there on the mission site.
We were fortunate enough we brought a full trailer of items down for their thrift shop, clothes and wheelchairs and walkers and toys and books, and they were just so excited about it. One of the neat things that we were able to do too throughout their whole congregation community is mark Bibles for the prisoners, and they were very excited about getting the Bibles, Spanish and English Bibles, and so that was pretty cool. The mission itself goes into Mexico. They have different mission churches there. I think when I was looking here, they go down into Juarez and they go into Chihuahua and so many different areas. What I found was so nice was when you got there is you had the volunteers that live there. You have your summer volunteers that help you, and they take you across the border. They kind of give you the insight of what's going to be happening. And one thing that I find really exciting is about this summer volunteer program is that Kristine is looking into that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I have inquired with one of their long-term volunteers about going down there myself next summer. And to the best of my understanding, I'd be kind of helping coordinate the groups and be the person that's going with them into Mexico, which is a little scary because my Spanish isn't the best. Right now, my name has been put in at a staff meeting, so they are considering me, and hopefully they'll send me some paperwork shortly.
Well, that would be great. You would be excellent down there, Kristine. I saw your organizational skills and your group leader skills just in this past week, and they would be very fortunate to be able to have you down there working with them. One of the things that, when you mentioned that your Spanish isn't the greatest, yes, you do have a full year probably to be working on that, but it's not a barrier, is it, usually?
No.
No, I mean, all the smile and the few words, the Jesus Cristo and gracias, it just, and when you become immersed down there with their language, it's just very easy to communicate with them. There's never been a problem on that. Kristine, are you going to need, is the church, I know the church itself probably isn't going to get a group together they do it every 2 years. What kind of support are you going to need to be able to go down there?
Well, my biggest concern is the plane ticket as far as airfare. So I'm trying to figure out where to look for financial support.
We'll be doing some fundraising through the church through that, and so look for those opportunities, because I think it's going to not only be a wonderful opportunity for you, Kristine, but it's going to be a wonderful opportunity for you to be able to come back and tell us what you've done and train us and how we can do mission work just right within our midst. I think that's what we sometimes forget, is we go down there to learn and to understand, to be able to come back and be able to bring it back here and utilize it. If someone's thinking about going on a mission trip, what would we've got a minute here to close, what would be your closing thoughts, and how would you encourage them, Kristine?
I'd say go for it. It is, especially this time for me, it was the greatest experience ever, obviously, since I'm going back. But it strengthens your faith, it strengthens your confidence. I mean, a lot of these people found themselves doing things they've never done before, especially the kids from Pierce, South Dakota. Many of them had never built a roof, and you're stepping outside of yourself.
That's a key thing, isn't it? You step outside of yourself and you just help others, and you just become so much stronger yourself. Well, Kristine, thanks for joining me today. If anybody's interested on this mission trip, they can get a hold of Kristine or myself, and hopefully everything works out for you well. And so, as we say, Cristo mi ama. Have a good day in Vergas.